Hey everybody, welcome back to War Boss Fits, and today we are going to be painting some tiny, speedy elves. Now, these are 6mm Craft World Eldar Falcon tanks. We're just going to go run through these. I'm going to show you how to speed paint these, and we're going to do it in the classic red scheme. I think it's the Sam Heim scheme. I'm not an elf player. I'm just using these guys to round up my collection because I don't have any elves. So I figured I'd just make some for this. And I have more of the collection over there getting ready to get painted. But these are the colors we're going to use today. We're going to use some prismatic bolt for some canopies, some pallid bone because there's always bone somewhere, grim black, enchanted steel, blood red, a black ink for our hard blacks, and whites we're going to be using for some white accents and the undercoat for the speed paint that I'm going to show you guys how to do. I'm still kind of under the weather and my voice is definitely cracking and banging and I sound like I'm going through puberty sometimes. But I wanted to get this out to show you guys how that you can, even though these models are nice and tiny, you can use this technique on all of the 6mm stuff that is going to be coming out here pretty soon. God, I hope so. I've been waiting on it. But yeah, 6mm stuff coming out soon. I'm going to be doing red, so you could use this as Blood Angels chapter, or in case you want your little, what they call Solar Auxilia painted red. I don't know. We're just going to do red, but this is a technique. You can change out the colors, change that red color for any other color you want. You could do this for any other scheme you want. So I'm going to shut up, and we're just going to start painting. So some of this is going to be sped up because you guys seen me do the slap chop before. And slap chop is a beautiful thing to use on 6mm models. And we're going to go through that and show you why. But whenever I do my slap chop, I base everything gray. And then I go back over with a white dry brush and I use just the crappiest, cheapest white I can find. And the biggest brush I can find. And the biggest brush I can find, which right now happens to be a makeup brush. This is what we're going to use on these models. Look, the brush is nearly as big as the tank itself. So let's get down to business. Start doing some dry brushing. Now, our next step is we're going to get right into it. We're going to go right in with the red. Gonna give these babies a good coat. Alright, and then here, because this red, the speed paints are always thicker than I really want them to be. I'm sacrilegious and I add a little water to my speed paint. Now, a trick I've found with speed paints is you yourself have to be kind of speedy when you're using them. Because, say if I went over this wing last, went, oh no, I missed a spot. And I went back over it after it was already dried, then you're going to have pooling and stretching and double coating. It's just not going to look that great. So what you got to do, try to be fast with it. Try to get the whole thing done. And it's a lot easier on a 6mm model, but try to get the whole thing done while the paint on it is still wet. And in this case, I've kind of come up with a way to paint the canopies while I'm thinking about it. It doesn't really matter if we get the red on it, because you'll see what I mean when we get to them. But some of these, like the metallics, are 100% coverage. Alright, so there's our red. Now I gotta go look up a reference picture because legitimately the last time I painted an Eldar tank was like 1997, so I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. It looks like I might have accidentally picked the easiest paint scheme one. I just remember the red guys were the fast guys, so let me mount it back up, and we're going to use a lot of black. and metallic at this point, and then we're pretty much done. Next, we go right for the grim black. Ooh, not much left in this one. Alright, smaller brush this time, and just as an aside, if you look at this brush, let's see, is that picking it up on camera? Just look at the, like, I don't know how long I've had this brush. Some people are like, I only have a brush for a year. I think I might be on 10 years with this brush. Look at that thing. I've just worn it down with my knuckle. Oh, moving on. Alright, so there they are with all the black done. Now you're doing speed painting, you know, you don't need to do it like I do, but I like doing them, you know, one at a time, one color each, and just run through them like a typewriter. So I go through all of them, and then boop, I move them all back to the other side, and then pull out my next color, and go from there. So our next color is going to be, we're going to move on to the enchanted steel. This is kind of a blue steel, and I think it'd look pretty cool on the elves. Now for here, we're going to want to do the canopies, the engines in the back, and then the intake. Here we are after the metal. Now, we could just leave it right there, because it looks like for this paint scheme, the three colors is mostly all that it is. But we're going to give that a second to dry. We're going to go in and we're going to do another couple details on the canopies. We're going to put in some of the black striping that the Samheim, however you say it. Man, I'm definitely not an elf player. That they're known for, just the big old black, like jagged lines going across it. Alright, so that's probably the most stressful part I'm going to do here, is I just went back in with the white and repainted the glass on the canopy. So that went a little bit thick in some spots. I'm going to give that a minute to dry, but while we're waiting, let's go ahead and use our Indian art, our acrylic artist ink to do some lines. Now, I could be wrong with this, but I'm just going to do them in like random ways. They might be like squad markings or such. I don't know. Alright, now, last step. We're going to use some, don't drop it there, we're going to use some prismatic bolt on the canopies, make them pop out a little bit. And we're going to water this down quite a bit, because we want it to be bright. Alright, so at the moment, that's where we're at, and I am happy with that. Now, I'm going to do some finishing touches. I'm going to put some basing on them and give everybody an oil wash, which, if you don't know, everything I do ends up getting an oil wash, which is just paint thinner and, where is it at? Paint thinner with some black oil paint mixed in. It's just another way to do a wash. You could do this with Nuln oil. If you wanted, you get strategic with it. But with this stuff here, I like it because it's real watery and it'll settle down into all the cracks, especially on the 6mm models. It makes it look good on these guys because you see the little detail paneling there. God, there's a hair on my finger. The detail paneling here that's barely visible. Well, that's going to pop when I put this on there. So let me slap that on real quick. There we go. Got the wash on them, and we are going to wait for all that to dry up and do the bases, and we'll get back to you. All right, so the bases are all done, and they're going to dry up, and you guys are going to see these on the table soon. Once this army is done, they're going to be fighting against the Robot Legion, and I'm going to change it up from the way I did before. Instead of using the 6mm rules for the full rule books that are in the community rules section, I'm just going to convert inches to centimeters and use everybody as multi-basing. So it's going to be massive games. So until next time, thanks for watching. This is War Boss Fitz. Hope you all have a good rest of the week, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.